Coming up next on KPBS Evening Edition, this Memorial Day will show you how San Diego honored those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. And we'll hear from a San Diego attorney who helped to clear the name of a man wrongly imprisoned for rape. Plus, Proposition B could be the answer to the pension crisis, but if it passes, the city could face another big controversy. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Peggy Pico. Presumptive GOP presidential nominee Mitt Romney spoke at a Memorial Day observance in San Diego today. He was accompanied by former prisoner of war Senator John McCain.
Greatness in a people, I believe, is measured by the extent to which they will give themselves to something bigger than themselves, to sacrifice for a cause of significance. And when that sacrifice of self and for purpose and for principle greater than self surpasses our everyday understanding by the widest margin, we call that greatness heroic.
KPBS reporter Kyla Calvert was at the Veterans Museum ceremony today, and she joins us with the details. And Kyla, what was Romney's message to veterans today?
Well, Romney really stuck with that theme of heroism. He singled out a couple local veterans to acknowledge on stage, and he also talked about his time as Massachusetts governor and getting to visit Massachusetts soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan and talking with their families and thanking them for the sacrifices that the families and soldiers committed for the United States.
Well, did he have a political message also to send?
Romney didn't mention President Obama by name. However, he did draw a distinction between his own stance on the military and Obama's. Obama has talked about decreasing the size of the military after the conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan have wound down. And Romney today said that the country has two choices, and one would be to cut back on military spending in order to fund social programs, which he said is the pathway that European countries have taken. But he said in that case, the United States wouldn't have someone else there to stand up and protect us. And so he made it clear that his choice would be to continue spending to ensure that the U.S. has a strong military.
All right, Kyla Calvert, thank you very much. Thousands of families, including those with members in the military and veterans, filled Fort Rosecrans National Cemetery in Point Loma this morning to honor fallen troops. A gun salute and wreath ceremony were among the many moments met with applause by old and young alike. Lieutenant General Thomas Waldhauser, the keynote speaker, spoke of being humble on this Memorial Day.
As a Marine and as a citizen of this great nation, it is especially humbling to stand here in uniform today and speak to you about the many American servicemen and women we honor on this special day.
Children waved flags as their parents showed their respect.
It's important to pay our respects to the men and women who have served and the ultimate sacrifice that some of them have made for us so that we can live the way we live. And I brought my two sons here because I want them to know how important it is to pay our respects.
Respect that could be seen as well as heard by Navy soloist Nikki Rogers.
God bless America, my home sweet home.
It was the 112th year for the Memorial Day service at the cemetery. Up next at the round table, the story about an ultimate injustice, innocent people serving time in prison. It happens more than you might expect. Joanne speaks with an attorney who helps those who are wrongly convicted.
Brian Banks had a promising football career as a middle linebacker at Long Beach Poly High, but his prospects and his life came to an abrupt halt when he was convicted of rape back in 2002. Wrongly convicted when he was just 17 years old. Last week, an LA County judge overturned the conviction.
The people's motion to dismiss this case pursuant to Section 185. That will be done.
I know that I'm here today, and I remain unbroken. I set my heart out to prove my innocence by any means necessary. And we did that today.
That video comes from Press Telegram. Brian Banks is one of many wrongly convicted people in the U.S. A new database, also released last week, documents hundreds of exonerations since 1989. Joining me is Justin Brooks, professor at California Western School of Law and project director of the California Innocence Project. Thanks for being here, Justin.
Sure, my pleasure.
You helped free Brian Banks. Tell us a little bit more about his story.
Sure. I helped free him along with my law students and lawyers at the California Innocence Project. Brian was this incredible football prospect. Every college in the country wanted him. People talked about him going to the NFL. And then he was falsely accused of rape by another student at the school.
And he actually served his time, 5 years in prison.
He served 5 years in prison. In fact, he wrote to us while he was in prison, and we looked into his case. And the problem with it, as there is with any case like that, is we had to say to him, look, without any evidence to prove your innocence here, there's nothing we can do. And so he served his time, and he got out. And then all of a sudden, he gets this Facebook friend request from this woman saying she wants to let bygones be bygones. And can we still be friends? After she took this guy's entire life away from him.
And he ends up getting a recorded confession from her, which is what you were able to use to get his case overturned.
Right. She gave a statement saying that never happened. In fact, that she lost her virginity years later, admits to the whole thing. And then we got the video. But the problem is, we had the video, but that doesn't mean we're out of the woods, because we have the burden of proof of showing innocence. And there was a chance that they wouldn't have admitted that video. So we started negotiating with the district attorney's office in Los Angeles and saying, look into this case, investigate it with us, meet with our client. And what's great about running the Innocence Project is, we have truth on our side. We're not hiding anything. We brought our client in to be interviewed by the district attorney. We met with their investigators, and the right thing happened last week.
Now here's the scary thing, though. This isn't an isolated incident, and that's according to now this national database released last week. And what it showed, it looked at 900 cases of innocent people who were wrongly convicted. What are some of the crimes people are going to prison for that it turns out they never even committed?
Well, for every type of crime, people are going to prison and they're innocent. And in fact, the study, even though it documents hundreds, actually 2,000 in totality of wrongful convictions, it really is the tip of the iceberg, because those guys who got exonerated were the lucky ones. I mean, you look at Brian's case, for example. Had this woman not come forward and recanted, there's another guy wrongfully convicted that would have never been resolved.
And these are murder cases, these are rape cases. In fact, doesn't it show that I think half of these cases that it documented, this registry, were actually murder?
Yeah, and in murder cases, the thing is, lots of times there is evidence that you can use later on for an exoneration. Rape, murder cases, sometimes you have biological materials, you can do DNA testing. But I always wonder how many drug cases are out there that people are wrongfully convicted, because those cases are almost impossible to reverse.
What are some of the reasons that people go to prison when they shouldn't, that they're convicted when they shouldn't have been?
Well, the leading cause in this study is false testimony. And one of the big reasons for that is the use of jailhouse snitches. Jailhouse snitch testimony is very unreliable. In fact, in Canada, they've abolished using it in courts. You bring guys into court who have a lot of motivation to make a deal, and they'll say basically anything that the prosecutor or police want them to say. And sometimes it's not even misconduct by the police or the prosecution. It's just somebody comes forward, gets information off a guy maybe they's locked up with, and says, this guy told me he did it. And maybe they know something special about the case. The problem is jurors don't always get that. They don't really see the motivation for that. And another big reason is misidentification. When somebody walks into court and says that's the person who did it, that's very powerful evidence. And studies have shown that it's not reliable evidence.
How will this new database now that can document, okay, here's what went wrong in these cases, how can it help you do your job and perhaps even look at the justice system to try and establish what are the common mistakes? Can it change any of that?
Well, I think us sitting here talking about it can change things. the general public is starting to understand, that the system makes mistakes. I mean, for instance, we're looking at the death penalty in California now, and people are getting that innocent people have been sent to death row. That innocent people, more than 100 of them, have been walked off death row after a finding of innocence. So I think we can change the system, but the first step is the recognition that these mistakes happen, and we can change things. We can make identification procedures better. We can be more cautious about using snitch testimony. We can have higher standards for forensics. We can make changes.
We haven't got a lot of time, but I want to know what happens to Brian Banks next. I mean, so he basically now, his conviction's overturned. What are his plans?
Well, Brian had a dream that he says was paused, and his dream was to play football in the NFL. And I'm told, I mean, I don't know anything about this, but I'm told by the people around him and trainers who've worked with him that he has the speed and the strength to do it. So I'm hoping we're going to have a fairy tale ending to this, and he ends up in the NFL.
Great. Justin Brooks, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
And San Diego will soon decide whether the city should end its traditional pension system for new city workers and switch to a 401k. But KPBS reporter Katie Orr says if Proposition B passes, it'll raise another big question for the city.
Leafy trees cast shadows on the people coming and going from the downtown San Diego Social Security office.
San Diego City employees likely don't walk through that door very often because the city isn't currently enrolled in Social Security, but that could change if Prop B passes.
In the 1980s, San Diego was allowed to opt out of Social Security because it promised workers a pension and retiree health care. Soon after San Diego left the system, the federal law was changed to require the participation of all public and private employers. If San Diego voters decide to leave pensions behind in favor of 401ks for most new workers, the city may have to re-enroll in Social Security. San Diego State social work professor Tom Riley has written a book on city pensions. He says San Diego is in a unique spot, and the federal government is likely waiting to see how the vote turns out before offering a formal opinion on what San Diego needs to do next.
It does have pretty significant implications nationally. I don't know of any place in the United States, public or private employee, where they only offer 401k.
Riley says if the feds let San Diego stay out of Social Security, it could open up the door for other employers who want to leave the system. And he says that's not a good thing at a time when the federal government is looking to extend the life of Social Security. San Diego Chief Operating Officer Jay Goldstone says San Diego could re-enter the system, but it doesn't necessarily have to.
There is a safe harbor obligation. And so as long as the contribution into a 401k style plan is at least 7.5%, you meet the safe harbor. And that 7.5% can come from any source. So even if the city were to contribute, for an example, 4%, and the employee matches 4%, you would meet the safe harbor and not be forced back into Social Security.
Goldstone says it would be the city workers who would be affected who would decide whether to rejoin the system, just as employees decided to opt out in the 80s. Goldstone says there's no minimum or maximum number of workers needed to trigger a vote, and that the timing of the vote would likely be decided through labor negotiations. Social Security requires employers and employees each contribute 6.2% of an employee's salary toward the system. San Diego Taxpayers Association President Lonnie Lutar helped write Prop B. It caps the city's contribution for non-public safety employees at 9.2%. So she says it's not a big deal if the city rejoins Social Security because it can't surpass the cap.
From our perspective, it doesn't matter to us one way or another whether the city decides to re-enroll or not, because it has no negative impact to taxpayers.
But Municipal Employees Association General Manager Michael Zuquette says it is a big deal. He says city workers originally opted out of Social Security because the deal they were offered was so much better. He says that deal is now gone. And he says even if the city gets back into Social Security, it'll leave the workers with just a 3% 401k match.
And the problem with that is not well, there's issues of equity and fairness and morality, but there's also issue of the fact that most other cities in the state of California are not going to go to this model. So when we compete for firefighters or 911 dispatchers or librarians, they're going to have one compensation package in the city next door, even within our same county. You don't even have to leave the county of San Diego.
Zucchett says that could lead to the city becoming a training ground for certain professions when the economy begins to improve.
That was Katie Orr reporting. They fought with honor, but some veterans were laid to rest without dignity in San Diego. That is until a group of San Diego veterans decided to make a change. Joanne has more on this story at the Evening Edition Roundtable.
About 12 years ago, some retired military officers learned that not all veterans were being buried with dignity. In fact, some remains were being shipped to Fort Rosecrans National Cemetery in FedEx boxes. Joining me is Admiral Rod Melendez to tell us more about this. Thank you, Admiral, for being here. So, why was this happening?
Well, you know, you get veterans that die without families. Even in San Diego, you get homeless veterans that are living on the street that die, and they were either being, you know, just taken and buried, and like when you had family boxes coming to Fort Rosecrans without family or members or anything like that, they would just put them in the columbarium. And so there was no formal service, there was no recognition of their service, and we at the Veterans Museum felt that we needed to do something to treat them with honor, to give them the recognition that wasn't being done.
So we know that 1 in 4 homeless people here in San Diego is a war veteran, is a military veteran. How often was this happening where these vets were being buried without this military honor?
Well, I can't speak historically, but today, as we do it, we will have anywhere from 1 to 4 caskets that will come to the museum. Once a month we do a memorial service there, and so if we have a identified veteran that has no family or is homeless, then we take them in. We partnered with Dignity Memorial of Glen Abbey Cemetery in Bonita, with the Veterans Journal, local veterans groups such as the Pearl Harbor Survivors and the Marine Corps League. And so we provide an actual full honors military funeral. We have a naval chaplain there. We have an honor guard and fire 3 volleys, and usually it's the 82nd Airborne Honor Guard that does that for us, but we have other groups that do it too. And so we put flowers on the casket. They're brought. Glen Abbey provides a actual casket and brings them funeral service hearse to the museum. We do this, and then if they are cremated remains, they've gone to Fort Rosecrans. Up until recently, they would be driven all the way up to Riverside National Cemetery for burial. But with the opening of Miramar now, then they can be, interred right here in San Diego. So it's a combination. And it's not us by any means, but it's us and Glen Abbey and Veterans Journal and the Pearl Harbor Survivors and other veterans groups that pull together and do these services, and we have music and everything, and they're very, very moving.
So tell us why, especially on Memorial Day, why this is so important, why this matters.
Well, sure, especially when you have a veteran that's lost all his family, whether he's homeless or he's just the last family member in his line. You know, there's no one to say goodbye to him. So we do that.
Means a lot. You've obviously attended these?
Yes. Matter of fact, when I was on active duty, I did 4 formal ceremonies at Arlington National Cemetery. Honor guards, horses, bands, the whole shebang. So they're moving, very moving ceremonies.
There might be some people at home who maybe want to attend, who want to get involved and be a part of this.
Yes.
Where can they get more information?
On the 4th Saturday of every month, we do a memorial service at the museum. First, we read the names of all those veterans that have passed away in San Diego County, the names of all the active duty personnel that have lost their lives in Iraq, Afghanistan. We toll the bell, ring the bell after that. Then if we have any indigent veterans or homeless veterans that are there, or veterans without family, then we bring those caskets in and we do a full honors funeral service. Fold the flag, present it to either one of the Pearl Harbor survivors or someone in the audience.
Do you have a website that I can just let people know about?
Yes, www.veteranmuseum.org. There's no S, just Veteran Museum.
Thank you so much for being here.
Sure.
Full containment of the Banner Fire is expected tomorrow as crews continue to work to extinguish hotspots. More than 5,000 acres burned in the fire south of Highway 78 and east of Julian. Some families in the Shelter Valley area were evacuated, but all residents were allowed to return home. 900 firefighters, 24 fire engines, and 13 water tenders, along with 2 helicopters, were used to battle the blaze at an estimated cost of $3 million. No homes were damaged. Several communities around the county were without power today. More than 3,000 San Diego gas and electric customers in La Mesa and Lemon Grove and 1,200 in Vista. SDG&E released a statement on their website saying the power failure was probably caused by problems in the overhead electrical system, but no additional details were given. The utility said power would be back on this afternoon. Now, summer is coming, and for San Diego teens, that could mean summer jobs if they can find them. But in some tough mid-city neighborhoods, not having summer work may actually become a public safety issue. The Media Arts Center of San Diego produced this video from a job fair to help teens stay off the streets. It's part of the KPBS media collaboration called Speak City Heights.
Well, this event was put on through the collaboration to keep City Heights youth safe. And at the Teen Center, we also are trying to promote keeping youth safe. So at one of the meetings, I decided that have we ever had a career fair? We got together, and with over 43 different employees, we felt that this would be a great cause, a great deal for our community to actually promote students going to school in their neighborhood, students getting hired in their neighborhood, students being able to walk home in their neighborhood.
The collaboration is made up really just of a bunch of different community organizations and big businesses here in City Heights that care about keeping our youth safe. Most of the youth coming up are interested in jobs, which is the primary focus for today's event. A lot of them are looking for summer jobs. Many of the young adults here in City Heights have to support their families, or we have a lot of actual homeless youth here in City Heights, and Youth Build's actually a paid training program, so it serves 2 purposes. One, it's a high school diploma recovery program, so we're trying to get kids to finish up their high school education and to see how important that is to actually opening doors in their future. And we can do that by offering them a paid training program, so it's like a job. They're building job skills, they're getting hands-on training while completing their high school education, so it's win-win.
It's way worthwhile, you know, because there's people out here that are struggling to look for jobs, and they were brought to us. Right here is a whole bunch of opportunities that are actually hired. I hope the opportunities come true and they're willing to actually go out and work.
I will be honest with you, when we started this job fair over 6 months ago, we really did not know how many employees were going to show up. So when we set up this job fair, we felt like we must have the employer. The prerequisite was you must offer a job, you must offer internship or training, or you must come and offer a resource. In this neighborhood, we want the students in the neighborhood to be hired in the neighborhood. And so hopefully, starting with this first job fair in City Heights, most of the franchises in this neighborhood will start being prepared to hire youth again.
It's hard to find a job in our neighborhood. When I walked around here, there are more volunteer positions than jobs. There are more like connections, people that can help you get a job. Not like, oh, there's a job here, you can apply and get it. It's not a guaranteed thing, you know?
There are not enough jobs in the neighborhood, but at the same time, this is a new start. So sometimes we can't offer jobs or we can't offer resources to keep the youth on the right track. Hopefully this is a beginning for City Heights as a whole.
Brian Myers and Megan Burks produced the video. For more information, go to speakcityheights.org. More than 6,000 men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces have died over the past decade fighting in the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. Tom Mitchell of the Veterans Village of San Diego made this video to convey the powerful feelings of sorrow and pride shared by all on this Memorial Day for the ultimate sacrifice of our fellow You can watch and comment on any of the stories you saw tonight on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thank you for joining us and have a great evening.